The reality of human connection is often much simpler and more scientific than we realize. While many men believe that winning a woman over requires grand romantic gestures or expensive gifts, the real secret sauce is hidden in our biology. Neuroscience shows us that a single intentional touch lasting less than 3 seconds is powerful enough to trigger a massive release of oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, directly into a woman's brain. This chemical shift creates an immediate sense of emotional closeness and trust that words simply cannot replicate. For a mature woman who has spent years navigating the world, words have often lost their luster. She has heard every compliment and sat through every rehearsed nice guy speech. She isn't looking for a script, she is looking for a presence. To reach someone who is self-sufficient and guarded, you have to speak a language that bypasses her logical, skeptical mind and speaks directly to her nervous system. This is the language of intentional touch. It's not about being grabby or aggressive. It's about a specific type of physical vocabulary that communicates safety and confidence. Research from UC Berkeley, led by Dr. Dasher Keltner, reinforces this by showing that humans can identify complex emotions like gratitude, sympathy, and love through a brief touch on the arm with up to 78% accuracy. Your hands are actually more honest and effective communicators than your mouth could ever be. If you have ever found yourself stuck in the friend zone, it is likely because you lacked this physical fluency. Without the right kind of touch, a woman's brain never gets the signal to move from platonic comfort to romantic attraction. By understanding how to use these 7 specific touches, you aren't just making a move, you are literally rewiring how she feels about you in real time. You are providing a sense of security and primal connection that makes her feel seen and chosen in a way that flowers and text messages never will. The lower back guide is far more than just a polite, old-school gentleman's gesture. It is a sophisticated biological signal that speaks directly to a woman's nervous system. The lower back, or the lumbar region, contains a massive cluster of nerve endings that are uniquely wired to the brain's emotional processing centers. Because this area is so sensitive, a hand placed there sends a message that completely bypasses her logical mind. When you gently place your hand on the small of her back to guide her through a crowded room or through a doorway, you aren't directing her movement in a literal sense. You are signaling a profound sense of protection and awareness. The effectiveness of this touch lives or dies by 2 factors: pressure and speed. Most men fail here because they don't understand the nuance. A quick, light pat on the back feels platonic, like something an uncle or a coworker would do, and it carries 0 romantic weight. Conversely, a heavy-handed push feels aggressive and controlling, which immediately triggers a woman's fight or flight response. The goal is a warm, full palm placement with just enough steady pressure to be felt. This specific type of touch triggers what psychologists call a protective bonding response. It tells her brain that she is safe, cared for, and that you are physically present enough to navigate the world with her. For a mature woman, this gesture is especially potent because she has likely spent years being the strong one in her life. She has handled the bills, the career, and the emotional heavy lifting entirely on her own. She has been her own protector for so long that she often forgets what it feels like to have someone else share that burden. When a man places his hand on her lower back with quiet, calm confidence, it communicates a powerful message. You don't have to carry everything alone right now. That single wordless realization can feel more romantic and grounding than 100 roses, because it addresses her deepest need for a partner who is truly aware of her. While standard hand-holding is a common sign of affection, it can often feel routine or even mindless, something teenagers do while walking through a mall. To create a deeper, more mature connection, you need to utilize the 2-handed cradle. This involves taking one of her hands in yours and then bringing your second hand over the top to gently sandwich or cradle it. This simple adjustment changes the entire dynamic of the interaction. By using both of your hands to hold just one of hers, you are creating what is known in psychology as bilateral stimulation. This symmetrical sensory input sends a powerful signal to her brain that you aren't just physically there. You are emotionally and mentally locked into the moment with her. This technique is so effective because it mirrors certain elements of EMDR therapy, which professionals use to help people process deep emotions and feel grounded. When both of your hands are engaged, it provides a sense of containment and safety. In our modern world, where most men are chronically distracted by their phones, their work, or their surroundings, giving a woman your full, embodied attention is a rare and valuable gift. When you cradle her hand while she is speaking, you are wordlessly telling her, "You have my undivided focus and nothing else matters right now." For a mature woman, the impact of this touch is often profound. She has likely spent years in relationships where the affection felt half-hearted or on autopilot. She's used to men who are physically present, but mentally miles away. When she feels the warmth and weight of both your hands wrapped around hers, her nervous system recognizes the difference immediately. It creates a hush in her mind, allowing her to feel truly heard and seen. This isn't just a romantic gesture. It's a statement of character that proves you are a man capable of the kind of presence and depth she has been waiting for. While many men think a forehead kiss is the height of sweetness, the forehead press is a far more psychologically significant gesture. This involves gently resting your forehead against hers, closing your eyes, and allowing your breathing to naturally sync up with hers. This is what Dr. Sue Johnson, a leading researcher in relationship attachment, calls a bonding moment. It is a micro-interaction that speaks directly to the brain's attachment system, much like the way a mother and child bond through close physical proximity. Because your faces are so close, it requires an immense amount of trust and total vulnerability from both of you. You are essentially entering each other's personal bubble and choosing to stay there in complete stillness. The reason this works so well is that it removes the pressure of what comes next. In many romantic encounters, a woman is consciously or subconsciously wondering if a touch is just a prelude to sex or an escalation of the evening. The forehead press is different because its only goal is connection. It doesn't demand anything. It simply says, "I am right here with you and nowhere else matters." When you hold this position without rushing into a joke or a kiss, you are demonstrating a high level of emotional intelligence. You are showing that you are comfortable with deep intimacy and that you value her presence for more than just physical gratification. For a mature woman who has spent years building high emotional walls to protect herself from the nonsense of the dating world, this touch is like a quiet knock on a door she may have forgotten she had. She is used to men who try to buy her affection with expensive dinners or impress her with status, but she is rarely met with someone who can handle a moment of pure, silent connection. By slowing down and syncing your breath with hers, you are calming her nervous system and proving that you are a safe harbor. This level of quiet, focused intimacy is often the very thing that finally cracks open a guarded heart, making her feel more connected to you in 60 seconds than she might feel after months of traditional dating. The nape of the neck touch is a high-level move because it targets one of the most physically and psychologically vulnerable areas of the human body. Because the back of the neck is an area we cannot see and can't easily protect, it is hardwired into our biology as a high-stakes zone. When a man gently places his hand or fingers there, it triggers a rapid-fire assessment in a woman's brain. Her nervous system immediately asks, "Am I safe? Do I trust this person?" If the answer is yes, the result is a rare and powerful psychological cocktail, the simultaneous spike of trust and arousal. Most touches only trigger one of those feelings at a time, but the neck touch hits both, creating an immediate and deep emotional charge. From a neurochemical standpoint, this specific touch causes the brain to release dopamine, the chemical of desire and excitement, and oxytocin, the chemical of bonding, at the exact same moment. This combination is what creates that electric feeling of romantic chemistry. However, because this area is so sensitive, timing is everything. This is absolutely not a first date move or something you do with a stranger. It requires a foundation of established trust to be effective. Otherwise, it will feel invasive rather than intimate. When done at the right moment, perhaps while leaning in to whisper or while sitting closely together, it signals a sophisticated level of confidence. It shows you understand the nuances of attraction and aren't afraid of the intensity that comes with it. For a mature woman, this touch is a massive green flag for emotional intelligence. She recognizes that it takes a certain type of man to navigate the line between tenderness and desire so effectively. It communicates that you are confident without being aggressive, and that you are paying close attention to the physical tension between you. By choosing to touch a spot that is so private and sensitive, you are wordlessly telling her that you see the depth of her attraction, and you are comfortable leading her into a more intimate space. It's a move that separates the boys from the men, proving you have the awareness to handle a woman's vulnerability with strength and care. The subtle thumb stroke is often called the cheat code of physical intimacy because it works on a deep, subconscious level that most people don't even realize is being targeted. This technique is incredibly simple. While you are already holding her hand or resting your hand on her arm, you move your thumb in a slow, rhythmic back and forth motion against her skin. The key is to do this without drawing attention to it. You don't look down at your hand or pause the conversation. Because it is so low-key, it bypasses her romance radar and speaks directly to her biology. The science behind this is fascinating. This specific movement activates a class of nerve fibers called C-tactile afferents. Unlike other nerves that detect pressure or temperature, these fibers are specifically designed to respond to pleasant stroking touch. They are directly wired to the insular cortex, the part of the brain responsible for processing emotional connection and social bonding. When you use this rhythmic stroke, you are literally triggering the brain's intimacy switch. Research from the University of Gothenburg in Sweden shows that this exact type of slow stroking is what humans use to signal care and belonging. For a mature woman, this subtle movement is incredibly powerful because it feels authentic rather than calculated. Throughout her life, she has likely experienced performative affection, men who only show interest when they want something or when they are trying to put on a show. When you stroke her skin absent-mindedly while talking about something ordinary, it sends a message that your tenderness is a natural part of who you are. It suggests that you are instinctively affectionate, which feels much more honest and safe to her. To a woman who has seen it all, this small, quiet gesture proves that your connection is grounded in real, effortless intimacy. The silent pull is a masterclass in nonverbal communication because it focuses entirely on the concept of proximity seeking. In the world of attachment theory, a secure and healthy partner naturally wants to reduce the physical distance between themselves and the person they care about. This move is simple. Whether you are sitting on a couch or standing at an event, you wordlessly reach out, find her waist or shoulder, and gently draw her into your personal space. You aren't making a grand announcement, and you aren't asking for permission with your words. You are simply acting on a primal instinct that the gap between the two of you is too wide and needs to be closed. This gesture is incredibly effective because it is low stakes, but high impact. It isn't a sexual escalation or a precursor to a move. It is a statement of preference. By pulling her closer just to have her near you, you are communicating that you value her presence above all else. In a world where many women feel they have to earn affection by being entertaining, attractive, or accommodating, a man who pulls her in just because he wants her close provides a massive sense of emotional security. It signals that she is enough exactly as she is, and that you find comfort simply by having her in your orbit. For a mature woman, the silent pull can be a revelation. Many women over 35 have spent years in transactional relationships where physical closeness only happened when the other person wanted something, usually sex or a favor. When you close that gap wordlessly during a movie or a conversation, you rewrite that old, tired story. You are showing her that she is wanted, not for what she can do for you, but simply for the person she is. This creates a deep, home-like feeling of belonging that makes a woman feel truly anchored to you. The 20-second healing hug is the most scientifically significant touch on this list because it functions less like a greeting and more like a biological reset button. Most people are used to the standard 2-second hug, a quick, polite squeeze that acknowledges someone's presence but doesn't change their internal state. However, research in psychoneuroendocrinology shows that when you maintain chest-to-chest contact for at least 20 seconds, something incredible happens. The body begins to dump oxytocin into the bloodstream while simultaneously crashing cortisol levels, which is the primary hormone responsible for stress. This isn't just a nice feeling, it is a physiological shift that lowers blood pressure and slows the heart rate, moving the nervous system out of fight or flight mode and into a state of deep restorative calm. This is why relationship experts and therapists often prescribe prolonged hugging to couples in crisis. It is a clinical tool used to rebuild trust when words have failed. By holding the hug long enough to pass that 20-second threshold, you are providing a safe container for her emotions to settle. You aren't asking her to do anything or be anything. You are simply offering your strength as a place for her to rest. In a world where everyone is constantly rushing, the act of staying in a hug without pulling away signals a rare kind of patience and emotional stability that a woman can feel in her very bones. For a mature woman, this touch is often the most moving experience she can have with a partner. By the time a woman reaches her 40s or 50s, she has likely spent decades being the emotional pillar for everyone else, her children, her colleagues, and her family. She is exhausted from being the strong one who has everything under control. When you wrap your arms around her and hold her long enough for her to actually feel her own weight drop, you are giving her the one thing she rarely gets: permission to stop performing. You aren't just hugging her, you are offering her relief. When a man becomes the person who can take the weight off her shoulders just by holding her, he becomes irreplaceable.